interest. And they always say we got to have this spending package to get the Brazilian economy going, to get the Argentinian economy going. And it doesn't do that. So we now are in the clutches of what the globalists have done to third world countries. And as things get worse and worse, they'll say, oh, well, Obama youth brigades will save us. And if you're against that, you don't want to get the economy going. And federalization will fix things. And local federal hospitals at the old Army base. And yeah, there's a stockade, too. There's been a lot of homeless people and a lot of rioting. There's a federal stockade. Yeah, there's a federal stockade at Pier 57 in New York. And there's a federal stockade at the old Austin Robert Mueller Airport. And yeah, there's a federal stockade here and there's a federal stockade there. We got to do it. Society's collapsing after all. And see, as the bankers make society implode, crime explode because of people being hungry and starving and or not getting their welfare checks and wanting drug money, whatever the case may be, as things unravel and fall apart more and more, there is the central power with more police, more military. Oh, we're sorry we got to put troops on the streets, but there's rioting and starving people. Oh, we're sorry the banks had to be given unlimited power and control. It was done for your own interest. But here it is in the AP admitting they took those trillions and then hoarded it for themselves, not just for bonuses, but to go buy healthy banks so that they then turn off lending. They got to shut down the local banks from lending. They got to keep them from lending and saving the economy. They get you addicted to debt, then they totally cut it off, bankrupt everything, and then consolidate the whole pot. We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. I am Alex Jones, your host. Now, I've talked about this some last week, but I want to talk about it now. You understand what the bankers are doing. They're bankrupting the world economy by design, hoarding all the tens of trillions. They said, you must pass this October 3rd on that Friday, the banker takeover bill, not a bailout. The bill gave them unlimited anonymity, power, secrecy. Nobody can investigate them. But that's a fraudulent bill. And you got all these congressmen on record saying banks openly run Congress, both parties. This is the takeover. This is just a ruthless criminal takeover. And remember, they said, we will have a depression by next week. The stock market will plunge. Everything will end. This was on Monday if you don't pass this. And then the stock market fell over 1,500 points. All the yuppies panicked. And so it went from 2,000 to 1 phone calls. They were saying about 100 to 1 in Congress. That was their support, having 98% against it. And a few said, I don't like it, but I guess we have to. And then they went ahead and ran the stock market down a few thousand points more out of panic. Then they ran it back up with fiat currency. Now, they took all that money, hoarded it into themselves, and the Saturday after, one day after they passed it, Paulson said, you know what, we're not going to spend any of it for unclogging bad debt now. That's not the problem, which it was really true. But he knew that to begin with. It was derivatives, the tens of trillions. It was to pay them off on their derivatives, the big banks. And so they kept all that money, and now they're using it to buy up banks. And the Times of London admits, Financial Times of London admits, that they're using this money to consolidate banks. In fact, Google that for people so they can see it. Big banks using TARP money to buy other banks or to buy other institutions. Show people at prisonplanet.tv. It'll be hundreds of articles. They admit all this in Financial Pages. They just never call it the outrage it is. This is a formula, just like I said in the first hour, like making pancakes. I mean, if I had some native in my house that had never seen pancakes made, and they saw me suddenly take a box of canned stuff and dump it in a bowl and stir it and make pancakes, they'd think it was amazing. It's not amazing. It's a set formula shake and bake. I mean, that's all it is. It is a formulaic system where they create these bubbles, get everybody in debt. Everybody gets real passive, goes along with the tyranny while it's being set up, goes along with foreign wars because they got lots of cheap money. Then they implode it. Everything falls apart. The banks get more power and money in the name of unclogging things. They use that to further freeze things. They set out where everything falls apart so they can consolidate. They love the fact that real estate's going down. They love the fact that everything's falling apart. They love the fact that U.S. industries are all going bankrupt and that government's coming in and seizing them and saying, here, Fiat of Europe, owned by a Bilderberg Group member that we videotape and put in Endgame, my film. Here, you get Chrysler. It's been bailed out over and over again by the U.S. government. Oh, here, Europe and Russia get these parts of GM. And China gets these sections of GM. And Brazil, you get the Saturn line. I mean, have you read the news? They're taking it all. There's going to be a few factories left here to build a few things. And that's going to be government run while the rest is given to globalists. And you go look at the companies, all of their CEOs are Bilderberg Group members. The 3 or 4 companies being given, General Motors, as GM goes, so goes the nation. They're just giving it away. And they all and there's subplots within subplots. They debate $30 billion to GM all day instead of tens of trillions to foreign banks and bitch and complain and say, oh, the GM doesn't deserve it. We shouldn't, you know. There's going to be tough decisions to save GM. And instead they take the money and use that to offshore GM. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely amazing. It is just so mind-blowing to see this going on, to know this is going on, to know this is happening. And to know that this is only the beginning, to know that they are only going to intensify all of this, to know that they are only going to expand all of this, to know that they are only going to make this worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It's unbelievable. It's horrible. And to know that the public has been trained to trust the government and the media, even though they're figuring out they're being lied to at certain levels now, they can't help it. They're just giving in to all of this, at least passively, thinking, well, I guess the government will work it out. I guess everything's going to turn out to be okay. No, it's not going to be all right. Like Professor Griff says in the Obama deception. That everything is not going to be all right. The more of this we put up with, the worse it's going to get. These are ruthless, arrogant, bold usurpers. We'll cover the eugenics angle when we get back.